Welcome to Growth Inspires, a series which talks about the leadership and the leaders who has contributed a lot to the society and to the corporate. Today, we have yet another leader, Mr. Sanjeev Rastogi, a successful CEO and a business leader. We'll get to know more from him as we move and proceed forward. Namaskar, Sanjeev.
Namaskar. Thank you for getting me on the podcast today. It's a pleasure and happy to be here today.
Mr. Sanjeev, you are one such leader which is known in the industry for working into many of the industries and sectors. Can you talk a little around the early days of your life?
A very good question, because your foundation and your life journey starts how your upbringing has been. I was privileged to have great parents. I was born in a defense family. My father was in defense, and I studied in 7 different schools throughout my career, so which led me to different cities, different parts of the country, and that really helped back in early 80s and to go around the India and see India and then build a different perspective, work with different cultures, and grew up in different environment. The good part was being in defense, I grew up in a very disciplined manner, in a disciplined fashion, and I knew what hard work means, what it means to manage the change, because my father was an epitome of change, because every 2 years he used to get a new city, get to work with different cultures, different people, and so that gave me a very good start to be ready for the change, be adaptable. And then while I grew up, I took some decisions not to pursue the lines which our parents choose, like engineer, doctors back in 85. And I decided to go with commerce. And those days back in Jabalpur, when I was in 10th, I chose a different line, and which did not give confidence to a lot of my elders in the family that is that the right line at those days in back 85, when there were hardly any chartered accountants or not many in large numbers. But I said, let me shape my own destiny and let me decide what I want to do and what I can do. So I took that decision, and in the hindsight, if I look back, that was really, really great. So the journey in the childhood was very interesting, very challenging as well, changing schools every 2 years, meeting different people. And obviously there was no social networking, there was no computers, there was no networking. So building that network was very, very difficult. Staying in touch was difficult. But that gave me a lot of resilience to manage change, a good way to adapt to cultures, different people, and connect, and brought a lot of discipline with the defense background my father has. And I owe my success to them, because that really shaped my future in the past. And then when I moved back to Delhi to join my college, and then I took a college in the evening, early days, and then somebody came and said, if there is a will, there is a way. And I said, I will prove that. And post 90 to 94, I had 3 degrees, the highest 3 degrees in accounting, right from chartered accountancy to cost accounting and company secretaries. So, and that was the foundation. The foundation was laid in my childhood, that if there is a will, there is a way, and there is no substitute to hard work. And desire, dedication, and discipline will always shape your future. So, a very interesting and very enriching childhood. Not an easy one though, with all the movements and changing of schools and teachers, and changing of boards from CBSE to different boards. But yeah, that made me a man which I am today. So, very interesting childhood, and and I always believe that I was lucky enough to have my parents and that kind of a childhood.
We also have an information that you are also a religious person. You are a person who has been, as you rightly talked about, getting shaped in an environment wherein, be happy for whatever you have and strive for the best. And at the same time, you thank God for whatever, He has been kind enough to give it to you or your family. Can you, throw some light around it?
See, back in my college days, in second year, I went to Vaishno Devi, which is a very important shrine in north part of India. And there, while I was visiting a temple on the halfway through, we visited the quarry, and then there was some blessings I got that whatever I'll do next 3 years, I'll be a devoted discipline of Mata, and the Mata will bless me whatever I'm going to do in next 3 years, and that happened. And in 3 years I got 4 degrees, right from my BCom honors and CA, ICAA, CS. But that reinforced my faith that if the God is with you, and you have the right belief system, you live your values, I think the God is also blesses you and God is with you, and that gave me power. So last 35 years I would have visited the shrine every year. I visit any part of the world where I am. Whether I'm changing my job, whether there's any auspicious function in the family, I do visit Mata Vaishno Devi, because I believe there's a eternal power which blesses me every time I take up some challenge or do something, and that has shaped and reshaped my career. And I visit temples every year, and I've been to all parts of India. So most of the Jyotirlings I've covered. Puri many times I've been, and so whenever I get a time, I do go and visit, because one, spirituality brings good thoughts, good vibes, and I have a small temple in my office, and that tells me that whatever I do for the betterment of the people which I deal with, and so nothing negative comes into my mind, whatever the stress I am in or whatever challenging situation I am in. But do good for people, be with the people, and if the God is in front of you, you always get positive vibes, and that has created a lot of positivity in me, because I always feel that there is somebody who's blessing me always and who's besides me. So spirituality is something which comes naturally to me, and I'm very, very religious. Yes.
That's so nice to hear from you, Sanjeev. We believe that in everybody's life, there are instances when life goes or gives you, surprises, ups and downs. What were the two events or incidences that you think have added exponential value to your growth?
I think staying firm, though I got a first division, my father wanted me to be an engineer because he himself is an engineer. But I said, I want to do commerce. And there was only one school in Jabalpur which had commerce, and which was 30 odd kilometers away, and I used to go by truck. So I said, and then I did not choose maths because I was scared of maths. But eventually I realized that whatever problems you want to run away with, it comes and haunts you back. So unless you face the problem, you will never find a solution. As soon as I came to Delhi after my 12th, I realized that in BCom honors I need to have maths. In CA Inter there was maths back in 93. And I said, oh God, I should have done something in 10th and 12th to reinforce my maths. But I said, yes, there's a way out. So my younger sister, I'm the eldest of the 4 siblings, she is a BSc topper in Delhi University. So she became my tutor and mentor on maths. And I said, I'll work hard. I'll make things possible. And with my work hard dedication, I scored 95 out of 100 in maths in my CA inter exams, which is still the highest. So one thing which reinforces that if you think you can do it, you will do it. Make a good start. Don't be afraid of problems. Face them, because they never go away. They always come back and haunt you later on. The second decision is very early part of my career. I joined shared service industry, American Express, back in 95, 96. And that was a very different industry, not traditional core finance accounting. I was doing tax, I was doing controllership, I was doing vendor payroll and other activities. But with all my degrees and all my education, I thought I was being underutilized. I was not doing treasury, I was not doing banking, I was not doing accounting, where my peers were doing. But then I found a mentor. It is very important to have a mentor, and I went to him that in spite of all this, I don't feel that what I'm doing is will create me to become a CFO, because at the beginning of my career I wanted to be a CFO, and that's why I did all these degrees and qualifications. He said, whatever you do here will add immensely to your experience. This industry is going to here and stay. And if I look back 30 years, that first shared service in India, American Express, then GE came in a big way, and all others, and where we know where GCC or shared services is today. And that is one of the reasons that laid me a big foundation. So no work is bad. Always put your best. Always try to learn. Always try to rotate. Don't get bogged down by what I'm doing. Focus on what you are doing and how you are doing, and what quickly you can learn and make a value and a contribution. And that's how, and get a mentor who can help you think through that. I think those changed my career today. And back from 96, 97 to now in year 24, I see that one decision in Amex to stay there, rotate, learn different things has shaped my career and leadership where I am today.
So you took challenges head on, and you have already told about the kind of courage which you get is primarily from two people. One is from your parents, family members, and the other is from Mata Vaishno Devi. My next question, or should I say curiosity, is most of our journey is generally a curve and not a straight line. And we have been talking about the good things happening in your life. How do you relate this to your journey? What were some of the not so good phases, or maybe some learning phases of your life, which you might call?
No, I think it's never a straight line. It's always a curve because early part of the year or your career, we are more focused on building our functional capability. The second part is more positional growth you look at, and the third is more leadership where you want to reach and create an impact through your leadership because you get that level and you're in that position. So I also thought that I should learn a lot of things. I should build a strong foundation for me to be a good leader. In American Express, I joined as a team leader, which gave me a platform to work in global culture, global values, global systems, global stakeholders. And I needed to build on that foundation. I took a decision. I joined a very big multinational bank in the tax department. And probably that was the worst decision in my life if I look at 30 years of my career. Because I changed and I realized that should I become a specialist or am I good for a leadership role? Which I did 5 years in American Express, and do I become a specialist and then pursue my career? I was good at both. But then it changed and I said, let me go to what my heart says and what I should be doing. Of course, I consulted my mentor again. And I went to core operations. I went to a transition in US for 7-8 months, bringing 300 people's job in a multinational. I joined a consulting firm. And that reshaped my career. I said, yes, I'm made for it. I've taken some decisions, but there are learnings behind it. No experience is bad because it makes you a person you are, and you always build on your knowledge. And then that learning and transition experience helped me to take up more challenging roles. And I prepared for me. And when I moved to HP, from managing 500, 600 people, straight away going to managing 3 centers across India, 2,500 people was a different ballgame altogether. And it never came easy. So because managing that kind of leadership, managing that kind of a diverse workforce, diverse centers, and remotely those days because there was no hybrid and everything else. So that prepared me. There were ups and downs, there were challenges, but I knew what I was doing. I took up the challenge. So always don't be afraid and take up the challenges and learn. And there were a few things which I learned on the way. So I was very keen to learn. And then I decided that rather than my career being shaped by default, I should design my career how I want to pursue. And then from 2,500 people management, I came down to a team where I became the second employee in a metro, which was cash and carry Germany. And the team was even 1/3 of this, but the challenge was very different. I was working with European countries, 29 of them, trying to bring different language work, creating COEs, and that added immensely to my learning. And then I moved from my core finance, which is my bread and butter, to different domains into IT. Syngenta, I took an APEC role where my primary role was IT, HR, procurement, supply chain, and real estate. So while finance was one, but that was only one component of the leadership, and then managing different vendors, managing different, building up the center from scratch, global operations. So it's always that, it's always a curve. It's a curvy learning curve, and you learn on the way. All the experiences you get always helps you to shape up your future decisions and where you want to shape up and do. And having done this diverse into agri, to retail, to product company, I took a plunge with Deloitte in consulting. And I started to shape up their capability centers, which I was good at. And I was able to ramp up the capability centers to 7,000 people in a couple of years during the COVID era. Because of the confidence and experience I had, and the willingness to take up the challenge, willingness to do something in the virtual world, connecting people. So that gave me a confidence. And then currently working with ADANI in the GCC group, where one of the largest and the complex transition I'm doing, bringing all the businesses together in the GCC. I think that is the outcome of all the experiences I had, all the learnings I had, and all the ups and downs I had. So it's never a straight line. It's always a learning curve. And if I look back, my 7-8 companies which I've worked in last 30-32 years, it has given me different experiences and prepared me for different challenges and managing change very differently and connecting with different stakeholders. So a very different ecosystem you work with. Every organization brings their own culture, own style of leadership, own styles of working. And working in my current organization, it's again a huge learning curve for me, working with the promoter, working with the chairman, and working with different stakeholders. It adds immense value. And I'm privileged that I got this opportunity to work here and create something which we are trying to create at that scale and that, So it's always a steep curve, and you learn on the way. You may stumble at times, but be ready for learnings, be ready for change. And you don't get the sweetness of success unless you have failed at some time. So I failed at times.
So you talked about, you don't get the sweetness of success unless you fail at times, and you said that you also have failed at a couple of times. But one thing has been consistent in your journey, that you have been an inspirational leader. To a sense that when you were studying, you wanted to do your best, and then there was a time wherein you tried to learn a subject which you don't wanted to learn earlier. And that's about how you can overcome your fears. Your growth inspires many of us to pursue our dreams, to contribute and matter in the society. What makes you so humble and so grounded yet so successful? Because I have interacted with you on many occasions, and it's not just about me, but you talk about many people in the corporate, and they do say that you are so humble, so grounded yet so successful. What's the mantra around it?
A very good question, and I think there's a very big mantra I have adopted. Unless you're humble, you don't learn, and you don't connect with people. Whatever we do ultimately boils down to relationships in the corporate world. How you work with your stakeholders, how you work with your employees, how you work with your peers, and how you work with the CEOs. Being humble helps you to connect them better. Being humble helps you to get them on their side. At times you are taking a tough decisions. Being humble helps you to manage that change and communicate that decision. As you're aware, in the GCCs and the last so many years, we have moved to the GCCs. We are centralizing work. We are consolidating. Most of time from overseas to India, and there are a lot of cultural sensitivities involved. A lot of people are losing their jobs because we are creating jobs in India. And similarly, while you are creating a GCC in the current role or in something, somebody is getting displaced and moved into a different role or moving into a different role, but you're co-creating something. So being humble lets you connect people and they feel you are approachable. And you understand that you are part of their problem. You try to co-create solutions. And that has helped me being a leader where I can be humble, connect with them, both emotionally and there are two kinds of quotient. One is intelligent quotient and emotional quotient, and it is important that emotional intelligence comes into place. And if you are humble, the emotional connect happens very fast, and you are able to communicate and bring out what they are thinking and how you can solve their problem. And when people come to you, they are so happy that somebody is at that level is giving the ears to them, is able to understand. And I always say that not being sympathetic but be empathetic. Be in their shoes, and being empathetic, being part of their shoes, you need to be humble, you need to connect. And the last mantra which I say has contributed to my success is you are as good as your team is, because you are one leader, but if your team is not good, if you don't develop and grow them, you will never succeed. And I have learned that hard way. So always invest in people, always get the strongest of people to support you, because then you can do what your role is, a senior role of strategizing, ideation, thinking, connecting with stakeholders. So always believe, invest in people, bring the best out of them, delegate them, groom them, grow them. And that's how the respectness, the the humbleness, and people looking up to who comes. And as you said, there are a lot of industry peers who come and talk to me that I'm humble, but that's a mantra I have followed, and I think that has worked well for me in 30 years, and I still believe that will work for next whenever I leave the corporate world in next whenever years. But I think that has been a great success story for me.
One last curiosity which I have is, in fact, a message from you to the youngsters, from a leader who has been at the helm of the industry in one of the GCC, building something business which everybody is talking today, with over 3 decades of experience. Any message which you'd like to probably share it with the youngsters?
I think one, don't shy away from learning. The world is changing around us. Don't get deterred what is happening around us. Always try to learn and upskill yourself. You will become relevant. The second thing is, there's no shortcut to success. It's always the hard work. It's always a dedication and discipline. Because there are a lot of opportunities available to us. We run away, we join for a few bucks, we run away and do this. Because corporate career is a journey, is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So that is one part. The second part is, if you need to be successful, live on the values that depict. So as a person, be high on integrity, be a very good team player, and always very willing to create value and contribute. Don't take this as a job for money. Wherever you work, whatever you work, always try to learn, always try to contribute, always be a good team player, and always think that this, what I'm doing, will help me being a better human being. And I think that will shape up the careers of the young leaders. There's a lot of changes around us. There's a lot of AI coming in, cognitive coming in, that will send butterflies in our stomach. Don't worry. It is for everybody and not for us. If you're better prepared for everything, if you know there's a cyclone or there's a thunderstorm coming, if you're better prepared, you will always pass through this. So technologies will change, system will change, everything will change. Be ready for it. Change is the only word which is constant. So be happy, be self-motivated, always connect with people, always with people. Though there's an opportunity to be in a hybrid or virtual mode, but there are a lot of mental issues coming in, because when you are not connecting, when you're not speaking, you're not able to address your thoughts, you're not able to share your ideas, and you're not able to manage your stress very well. So don't be stressed about what is happening. There's the light at the end of the tunnel. So be happy and choose your path very carefully.
That's such an important message coming from you, Sanjeev. And it's been really an awesome journey speaking with you in Growth Inspires. Thank you so much for your time. And your journey has been really inspirational. I'm sure this podcast will help many more people to traverse a journey of something they would be really proud of in the future. Thank you for sharing your journey with us in VYAPT Growth Inspires.
Thanks very much, and very grateful to you guys to have done this podcast. I hope it helps some of the budding leaders and future leaders of the GCC or on the corporate world. Thank you very much for having me today, and it was a great pleasure talking to you today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.